Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the all-new Hyundai Ioniq 6. Before we get in this video though, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Murdoch Hyundai here in Linden, Utah for giving me some time with this Ioniq 6. This particular one is their demo car, so if you're looking to drive the new Ioniq 6 before you purchase one, they have this one, and then they also have several others available as well. I'll include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out everything that they have. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money, the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So this particular Ioniq 6 is the long-range model. Now you can get the rear-wheel drive long-range model and the all-wheel drive long-range model. Range with this particular one is 270 miles with the driving range. Now power outputs for that rear-wheel drive version are 225 horsepower and then 258 pound-feet of torque, 77.4 kilowatt-hour battery pack, whereas the all-wheel drive version has 320 horsepower and then 446 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, I think this is super cool how it pops up on either side. It actually reminds me of Porsche's design, or should I say Porsche's design on their cars. And then popping down below in normal Hyundai fashion, the headlights look absolutely insane. And then you guys can see we've got parking sensors here on the front end as well. And putting it all together, it's definitely striking, but that's just what Hyundai does with their electric cars. It's cool. Now, coming around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 245, 40, 20 in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see here with the wheel design, you got the silver on the top, the black below that. And again, it's out there, that's for sure. Pretty simplistic design for the fender cut here, and then you guys can see the kind of like gray trim there at the bottom. Notice the mirror caps body painted, and then you actually have the pop-out door handles. And then here's your full side view with the Ioniq 6. Definitely unique with the design. So here's our key fob. This thing looks like it's something straight out of the Jetsons, but anyways, you got like your remote start function. You guys can see the park assist, the opening for the trunk, but man, Hyundai kills it with their designs and their fobs, that's for sure. Now, popping into the trunk area, it's relatively normal. You've got these little pull latches, so you can basically throw down the seats and get even more space here in the back. Let's actually pull this up. Yeah, I mean, there's pretty normal, shockingly. And then anyways, here is a little button to lower it down, which is pretty fancy. Now, taking a look at the rear design, I definitely see the inspiration from Porsche. I have to say it like that for all the Porsche snobs. You can see this right here that pops up. That reminds me of what they used to have on the older 911s, right? Can you get, hopefully like cut this out. Doesn't that remind you 911? I don't know. Anyways, look at the taillights here. Then Ioniq 6 there in the center, and then you've got the parking sensors at the bottom, and yeah, this thing is just, it's out of this world. Now, taking a look at the door panel, it's really cool with the material use, and then like look at the, yeah, the finish there, that is so cool. And then here on the door as well, it just pops. And then taking a look at the seats, you guys can see perforated all down the center portion. So legroom back here is actually really solid. We've got a little storage pocket, we've got some vents, we've got some USB action as well. Of course, we've got our cup holder armrest, and by the way, these seats are very comfortable. And I got a little bit of headroom. Now, taking a look at the front door panel, you guys can see again with the design here and then the material use. Again, it looks so futuristic and cool. And then even the handle itself is pretty cool. You get your memory seat function here, and then look at the speaker for the sound system. And you can see blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. Now, taking a look at the seat itself, first off, I love this at the top. That's pretty cool. Perforated all down the center. And then look at the power adjustments. It's kind of a cool look. And then the pedals also look really fancy. Got a little storage space underneath there with the center console, which is kind of cool. And then your parking brake right here, your mirror adjustments, they do power fold in, which is another nice feature. And then you got your stability control. And then look at this. That's cool. I just realized I went through the whole walk around and didn't show you guys the charging port. So here it is. It's on the passenger side, and you've got fast charging, everything. So pretty simple. Goodbye. So here is the steering wheel, pretty fancy looking, and I like the ergonomics of the steering wheel. Am I even using the right words here? It feels good in your hands. It makes sense with the size and the shape and everything. Anyways, you got paddles here on the back for the regen, and then you guys can see like your voice command controls, volume controls, you know, all the normal stuff. We got controls here for the center stack. It does have adaptive cruise control with steering assist. We get your drive mode select on top of all of that, and then you have your stocks, which I like the end finish here. It makes them feel high quality. And then that's your shifter actually for the transmission select. It's kind of hard to show on camera because it's behind, but you twist it for drive and for reverse, and then you push the button in for park. It's actually really easy to use. Now here is the center gauge cluster. It's fully digital, and we can actually scroll through the different menus here to see different bits of info. I actually want to do this split here so we can see exactly what's happening with the power as we accelerate. And then obviously when we change the drive modes, it changes kind of how it looks, just like the Ioniq 5, which is another fun feature. Now in reverse, we do have this 360 camera system. Notice we've got trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. You got the bird's eye view, and we got this cool exterior shot of the Ioniq 6 as well. So, I mean, it doesn't really need all of this from a camera perspective, but it's cool that it has it. And speaking of camera stuff, guess what? We also have the turn signal cameras. Fancy. Now, diving into the infotainment system, first off, I love the fact that it shows you your percentage and then your range right off the bat. And then popping into this, if we press the EV tab, it'll show you how much range you can get if you have the climate controls off, which is pretty cool. And then if we pop over to the seats, we have heated and ventilated seats, and I like the animation there for it. I think that's kind of exciting. And then as for the rest of the screen, response time on it is super solid. Now on the BlueLink side of things, they've actually changed the whole subscription thing on it. I'll go over that in the window sticker, but it's kind of a cool thing that comes with the Ioniq 6. Now below the infotainment system, we actually have a lot of physical buttons, which I really appreciate, so we don't have to do everything in the infotainment system. So like your climate, for example, radio, all of that. And then we have this cool like wireless phone charging pad area. It looks cool. And then we got some cup holder setup stuff right here, and then you can see the trim on the side. I think that also looks pretty good. And then door lock and unlock's actually here in the center, and then also the window controls as well, just like a Jeep Wrangler. That's kind of interesting. And then we got some USB action there in the center. I do like this on the top. I think the material use is really nice. And then I like the design here. It goes across. I think that also looks really good. And then pretty normal glove box. And then up top you guys can see the mirror setup here, and then we do have a sunroof, which we're actually going to close right now for lighting purposes. And then I like the texture on the cloth. It's kind of cool looking. So here's a window sticker for this Ioniq 6 Limited. Again, this is the long range version. You can get this with all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, depending on what makes the most sense for your climate. But you got the warranty information right there. Hyundai famous for their really good warranties. And then we got all the rest of the standard equipment here. Now BlueLink Plus here. So this is like a lifetime subscription for the person that buys this car brand new, which is pretty cool. So instead of having to charge you all the time, but then you can see the other service side of things. But anyways, total MSRP $57,630. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility of the hood, both the mirrors. Do blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear. And well, Ioniq 6 away. And that's interesting to see I wanted to see the power split with this all-wheel drive version, to see if it sends more to the front or the rear, and it looks like it sends. We'll get more, but it looks like it initially sends it to the rear. Yeah, look at this. It's definitely rear biased. That's fun. I really like that actually. And just like most EVs, it handles amazingly well. Really good torque. I love how this drives. This is fun. This is a fun car. That is for sure. Suspension is really comfortable too. The regen's perfect. You can obviously tone it down if you want, but I think at this more aggressive setting, I think it's pretty good. Now, I have discovered our super not so secret racetrack here. And now continuing along here, I'm gonna try this new road for our reviews because nobody ever drives down this road. And so I think it'll be a good place to get little accelerations, especially with some of these EVs that have pretty crazy power. But anyways, let's pop it into sport mode. You can instantly feel it gets a little bit more aggressive when you put it into the sport mode here. Okay, so meanwhile in Mexico, right? Wow! That's honestly really quick. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So the thing about EVs is they are fast. Man, this is like the perfect road. I wish Wish that every single store had this. And we got this place that we can turn around here. So I guess we'll see the turning radius right here with the Ioniq 6. Whoop. Okay, we're gonna pop it back into, actually, let's see what eco mode feels like. Let's see if it feels pulled back. Yeah, that's interesting. It's still quick, but compared to sport mode, it doesn't, like, it definitely pulls back. It doesn't punch as hard as the sport mode. So pop into normal, I suppose. And yeah, let's sum things up here at the Ioniq 6. I think they did a really good job. Obviously, it shares a lot with the Ioniq 5. There you can see. Not in looks, that's for sure. They look like two completely different vehicles. But, you know, the driving experience, all that, it's pretty dang similar. Which I don't think is a bad thing, because the Ioniq 5 drives really well. So that might, you know, leave you with the question of, that's so funny, with the question of why would they make this? And, you know, honestly, this is just my opinion, I think this is kind of like a marketing thing and just like an experiment. Like, Hyundai's, you know, doing really well when it comes to sales, right? I mean, you look at all of their brands, they're all up by a massive amount when it comes to sales volume. And so I think they're just like experimenting, which I think that's the thing that you should do. If you're, you know, successful as a car company, experiment. And that's kind of what I think that this is, you know, the EV market, it's still like, it's this new market where, you know, there's not that many people in the market at this point here in the US market. And so everyone's still trying to figure out like what people want. And I think that's what this is. This is an attempt to figure out, you know, hey, is this like what people are looking for when it comes to an EV? So let me know what you guys think about the new Ioniq 6. I think this is a great vehicle. I think it's a really solid EV. It's got good range. It's comfortable. It's got a really nice interior. The exterior styling, right? You're either gonna like it or you're not. I feel like it's definitely out there. I think it's pretty cool looking. And so yeah, and let me know if you get that. Let me know, that's the really good question. This or Tesla Model 3?